Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth in our series of webinars. Tonight's webinar is regarding our lower school and GCSEs. So on the panel this evening, we have Gareth Evans, who's head of lower school, Sean Gallagher, who's head of Co-Curricular, and of course, our Principal Irfan Latif, who you may have seen in previous weeks. We do have further webinars coming up over the next coming weeks. So on the 10th of November, if you're interested in our boarding, we have a webinar at 6:30 p.m. UK time. On the 19th of November, we have our Wellbeing and Opportunities webinar, hosted by our Vice Principal Pastoral, Tom Hadcroft. On the 26th of November, we have our Meet the Students webinar. So that will be an opportunity for you to speak with, ask questions of our student council and find out what student life is really like here at DLD. And then we have one final webinar of the year, which is our academic open evening. And that will be a chance to find out a bit more in depth about some of the subjects we offer from our heads of faculties. But tonight we have our webinar focusing on our lower school. And before we hand over to our head of lower school, our principal, Mr. Irfan Latif, is going to say a few words. Thank you very much, Irfan.
And thank you very much, Ben. Well, welcome to DLD and to this webinar this evening, and thank you for giving up your time. And indeed, these are challenging times, but like the virus, we've mutated into something stronger. Our powerful ethos and our core values at DLD of tolerance, respect, and kindness have strengthened our community during this unprecedented time in our history. We're like a family, looking out for one another and caring for each other. That's what makes our school so special. Those strong and powerful relationships that we nurture and foster here makes for a happy and a friendly environment. I'm so privileged to be the principal of this innovative and caring school. If your son or daughter comes to DLD, they can expect high quality teaching and learning, excellent pastoral care, and a range of co-curricular activities to nourish the mind, the body, and the soul, and a compelling ethos of well-being, which is at the heart of our school, where your son or daughter becomes the heart of everything that we do. Our sector-leading work in wellbeing was nominated for the prestigious Independent School of the Year in 2020, and we were also shortlisted for TESS Boarding School of the Year 2020. Last month, we were awarded the Special Judges Award for Independent School of the Year, and we won Boarding School of the Year. Now, to have won these coveted awards during this time speaks volumes about the staff and our students at DLD. And our staff are one of the key ingredients in what makes DLD so special. So much so, we've been awarded the London Healthy Workplace Charter for our work on staff well-being. We've come a long way in a short space of time, and we look forward to continue to be innovative and lead the way in teaching and learning with our fantastic academic results, well-being, and boarding. Back in 1931, when the school was established by Messrs. Davis, Lang and Dick, little did they know that it would become what it is today. And today, I think those initials, DLD, stand for more than that. Of course, we do respect Messrs. Davis, Lang and Dick for setting up the past and for setting up the school, and we have a healthy respect for the past. But I think going forward, DLD for me now means development, leadership, and diversity. And that is encompassed in our mission statement, developing the next generation of leaders to take their place in a challenging and diverse world. Thank you for attending this evening. I'll pass you on to one of those staff, Gareth Evans, our Assistant Principal, Head of Lower School. Gareth.
Thank you very much, Irfan, and I'm delighted to be here this evening to introduce you to the lower school at DLD College. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to share my screen so I can get my PowerPoint up that I'm going to be running through this evening. There we go. So you should be able to see that screen now. So I wanted to start off by just introducing you to the different year groups that we have here in the lower school. So we have a Year 9 group, which is our academic preparation course, and that's for students that are coming to DLD. This will be international students that are looking to develop their English language skills at an academic level, and those students will typically move on to either GCSE or depending on age, they might move on to the A-level program, the BTEC program, or the IFP. And then we have a Year 10 and a Year 11, and those are our traditional GCSE programs. So the Year 10 is a first year of a 2-year GCSE program, and then we also have a Year 11, which will either be made up of students that have progressed on from Year 10 into the second year of their GCSE program, or we also offer a 1-year intensive GCSE program as well. So just to give you an idea of the 1-year GCSE program, the intensive GCSE program, students will typically do maths and English, and either academic English or a GCSE English language, or some that are at a higher ability will be able to do the English language and literature so that they can get an additional GCSE. And then there's 4 blocks that the students can choose from. So block A, you can see, is made up of either chemistry or art. Block B, biology or geography. Block C, physics or film studies. And then block D, economics or the business BTEC at level 2. And our BTEC is something that we are particularly proud of, and students have been very, very successful in that program. But we also have a fantastic creative arts program, a fantastic science department, maths department. So we're very proud of the excellent teachers that we have at DLD College and the excellent academic support that our students are provided with. You'll also see that students in the lower school will have sport, and that's typically done on a Friday in the afternoon. And my colleague Sean, who's also on the webinar this evening, will be talking a little bit about sports and CCAs later on. You'll see also that every student has a personal tutor period. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And they also have a period of PSHE. Into the 2-year GCSE program, students will follow the program as you see it on the screen. They have 6 blocks with biology, chemistry, physics, business, art, and digital skills. We think it's really important to develop our students' digital literacy. So we've dedicated time in the week towards that. Obviously, we've seen in the age of COVID that our digital skills are even more vital than before. And of course, the compulsory subjects of maths and English that students will have to study. And you'll see again that in the 2-year program, much like the 1 year, they do sport, they have their personal tutor, and they also do a PSHE session. So I mentioned earlier about the personal tutor. So this is the fantastic lower school team that I work with. These are the members of staff that will be supporting the young people at DLD from an academic perspective. So making sure that they're on track, they're making progress, that the right support is put in place where required. And they're also there to ensure that our students are looked after pastorally as well, so that they're eating healthily, they're engaging in sport and exercise, that their mental well-being is protected. And these members of staff get to know the students in the lower school incredibly well, and I couldn't do my job without these fantastic members of staff. So we have Sean and Charlie, who you'll see on the screen. They are personal tutors that look after the year 11 students. And then we have Alex, who supports the year 10 students, and John, who you'll see standing in a Waterloo station, is looking after the year 9 students. And then in the middle is Nicola. Now, Nicola is our deputy head of boarding, and she plays a really important role in ensuring that there's a communication and link between the students from a day-to-day perspective and from a boarding perspective. So we're really lucky to have Nicola supporting the lower school as well. Now, personal tutors will see the students in their group every single day. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's a what we call a registration period. And that's really a chance to check in every day, check that our students are happy, resolve any problems that they might be having, celebrate any successes. And then on a Tuesday, they have a longer personal tutor session, which is a 40-minute session. So they really have an opportunity to make sure that they get to know your sons and daughters very, very well, and they can be on hand to support them. We have a house system in the lower school, and this was really about creating a sense of community, but also encouraging our students to get involved in all sorts of different activities and stretch themselves beyond what they might normally get involved in. So, for example, one of the house competitions we had in recent weeks was a film review competition, and we had fantastic entries by our students, and they really pushed themselves. And you'll see that on the left of the screen, we reward students through house points. So if they do a good piece of work, if they get involved in the various competitions, if they are recognised for being a good community member, they'll also get house points. And the students really engage with this idea of competition. And it's been really exciting actually this year, just watching them competing to try and win the most house points. And I'm sure later on, Sean, who has been one of he's one of the leaders of the houses. He looks after Westminster House. Will add to that. But your son or daughter will be involved in a house at DLD College. It's really important for us that we have in place the right support mechanism for our students. So from an academic perspective, we use a system called Canvas, which allows us to track our students' progress. They will submit their work on Canvas. There's support material on Canvas. I mentioned earlier we have digital literacy. We think that's really important in the current age that we live in, that our students have a high level of digital awareness. We also have a learning support department. So if there are additional needs that your son or daughter has, or they need more academic support, then our learning support team is on hand to support. Boarders will be involved in evening study. So we're making sure that there's a protected time every single day where they can have some quiet space to either review their notes from their lessons during the day or complete homework assignments that teachers have been setting them. We've got different events that are preparing our students for the next stage in their academic life. So we do a Beyond GCSE event. We organise A-level tasters for our students. So we're always getting them to think about what's next, what do I need to be, how do I need to be performing in my subjects in order to move on to my next goal. And with that in mind, we have regular testing periods through the year as well, through milestones, mock exams and progression exams. So we're always taking opportunities to check in, make sure students are making progress, using that as a reset point to set them smart targets to move into the next testing period. we are passionate about listening to our students as well. We feel that our learners, their voices must be at the forefront of everything that we do. And we have a number of different mechanisms in place to make sure that we're listening and reacting to our learners. In fact, my position exists because of Learner Voice. They shared with the Vice Principal that they wanted a head of lower school, someone that was their champion, and here I am. So I'm grateful for Learner Voice, because I wouldn't have the role that I'm passionate about had it not been for our learners. Some of the things that we do to ensure that we're gathering Learner Voice, I do a weekly surgery, which is my one session a week, which is protected for the students. Of course, they can come in and see me at any time during the week. I have an open door policy, but the weekly surgery is protected. It doesn't get allotted to anything else, and they can come in and speak to me about anything that they would like to. Each of the houses has house captains who are also supporting us in feeding back the Learner Voice to myself and to Sean and to the head of the Marleybone House. We do surveys, so we're feeding in with our students that way. And other things like assemblies, lower school forums. So we've got lots of different areas where we're looking at and talking to our students and getting their feedback. We also are really keen that we develop our students beyond the curriculum. This isn't just about them coming here and getting good grades. It's actually also about making sure that we send them out into the wider world with different skills, with the ability to be able to challenge themselves and take risks in a safe way, and that they're thinking not just about getting a final grade, but actually giving something back to the community. So different things that we have here at DLD, we have the Duke of Edinburgh, we have the health charter. So every month students are completing challenges which are aimed at giving them an awareness about their own health and well-being. And with that in mind, we've also set up well-being workshops, which are, you'll see a couple on the screen that are running shortly. One is healthy eating, and another one is how to sleep well. So all things that are aimed at developing their well-being. At this stage, I'd like to just invite Sean onto the webinar, because he will be able to talk a little bit more about sport and CCAs. Hello, Sean.
Hi, Gareth. Thank you very much. Hello to everyone who is with us. Pleasure to meet you all virtually. Yeah, so as Gareth was saying, it's really important for us to think about what the students are doing, not only inside the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And it's my job as head of co-curricular in sport to make sure that there are options for students and a varied provision for our students to make sure that they are stretching and challenging themselves, you know, socially, physically, and mentally. And the program that we have in place, we feel allows our students to do that. So as Gareth touched on there, we have a Duke of Edinburgh award that takes place throughout the year. We were very fortunate to have our excellent DofE manager, Charlie Pennell, take a group out over October with COVID measures in place, and that allowed students to receive their bronze awards, some silvers, and some gold award students to continue through that process, where hopefully they'll be able to complete their expeditions come the end of the year. That's the plan. As Gareth said, obviously the health charter is something that is very important and headed up by Mark Johnson, our head of wellbeing, along with our counsellor and other members of staff. You know, in today's age, it's really important that we make sure we're looking after the well-being of our students and the mental health of our students. And, you know, sports and sleep and eating correctly are really, really vital for our young people, and we need to do everything that we can to make sure that they have an understanding of that and know the importance that that can bring to them. So the program itself, the co-curricular program, most of that happens after school, so post 5 o'clock. There are some lunchtime activities that take place, but the kind of large chunk of activities will take place after school. They can range from academic CCAs, like our academic societies, which all students will attend at least one of those. Some keen students will attend more than one academic society if they can fit it in within their timetable. And we have different sports on offer. So our team sports would be predominantly football, netball, and basketball. And we are playing some of the top London-based schools around us, and we have regular fixtures against those other schools. And yeah, I mean, as I said, it's really my role to promote the CCA program, to make sure students are getting involved, that they understand the importance of getting involved with things outside of the classroom and what that can bring to them. And we feel as though we provide that within our DLD community. We also have some charity events that take place during the year. We've managed to organise a virtual 5K for Evelina Children's Hospital, which is just located a couple of minutes away from the school. And community and charity is a huge part of what we do here at the college, and we hold it very dear to our hearts. And it was awesome to have on a Sunday morning, a Teams meeting at 9:45 with both staff and students who are all ready and prepared to go out there and either walk or run or cycle for the charity. And it was brilliant to have lots of selfies being sent in and put all over our Instagram page. So if you do follow us already, hopefully you got a glimpse of that, and some more posts will be put up shortly, so you'll be able to see that. But that community element of DLD is one we hold very strongly, and I love the fact that we have that here at the school. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some questions that you guys will have for us, but I think that's it from me. So thank you very much, and I hope that I'll get to see you at some point.
Thanks very much, Sean, and you're recognised, Sean, as one of the team that I said I worked with earlier on in the presentation, and you can see his passion screen comes out of the screen there. So that's why I'm so lucky to work with Sean. I would like to, obviously we're going to move to questions, but if you, at the end of this webinar, have any further questions you'd like to contact me, my email address is on the screen. If you have any questions for Sean, I can forward those to Sean as well, but I'll be delighted to hear from you, delighted to answer any other questions, and thanks for watching and attending this webinar.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Thank you very much, Sean. That's brilliant. And mentioning the 5K, Sean, I think there's a lot of achy legs since Sunday. So thanks again for arranging that. It was brilliant. Okay, so we do have some questions that have come through during the presentation. First one for you, Gareth. What is PSHE?
Well, actually, I think I'll invite Sean to answer that one, because he is one of our PSHE teachers, so he'll be able to talk a little bit more about the programme.
Yeah, so PSHE is one period a week that our lower school students will take part in. Apologies, guys, just put my video on there. Yeah, so it's one period a week that students will take part in, and we're basically looking at social topics, health topics that we feel are very important, and things that we do need to cover for our young people. So we could be looking at things like gratitude, mindfulness, but then we could also be looking at some really practical things like how to approach interviews when we're going to university or when we're going for job interviews. So it's kind of a lot of those life skills that our young people do need to discuss and to kind of practice. throughout the year to kind of give them that kind of development that they'll need to then go on into year 12, you know, and then beyond into university or into the working world. And it really does bring up a lot of debate and a lot of discussion, which is excellent, and some critical thinking as well. So I really enjoy those lessons with the lower school. I have year 11s, a year 11 tutor group, and yeah, we really do enjoy those periods, and it does feed into then some topics within the PT registration and PT period on Tuesdays, because sometimes maybe we don't get through everything in that PSHE lesson because, you know, we've been debating for 40 minutes. And so we do carry on those conversations, and it really does bring up some important topics. So yeah, it's really a real pleasure to teach, and our students do get a lot out of it. So yeah, that's PSHE.
Thank you very much, Sean. Okay, we've got another question here. Gareth, one for you, this one. How many students get the grades to progress to A-levels?
So that's a good question, Ben. Thank you. So if we look at our students from last year, I mean, the aim is that our students will aspire to move on to A-level. Our results last year, 96% of our students were graded 9 to 4, which is equivalent to A star to C. And to progress on to A-levels, typically you need 5 GCSEs, grade 9 to 4. So the majority of our students will progress on to A-level if that's the destination that they choose. Some students will move on to BTEC or an IFP program, but our aspiration is that most students will move on to A-levels.
Great, thank you very much. And another question for you, Gareth. It's an interesting one. How do you choose who is in which house?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So so this year we've got as you saw on the screen, we've got 4 tutor groups and Nicola, who supports from a boarding perspective. So we initially approached it by trying to mix up the tutor groups with and then having Sean and Charlie kind of leading the houses. So there isn't really a criteria for selection. We just need to make sure we've got a balanced group. Sean, do you want to add to that at all? You're muted.
Yeah, I think there's no, as Gareth said, there's no real criteria. You'll be put into your tutor groups, and then we will have a look at splitting that. At the moment, there are 2 houses, but we will be looking to develop that into more houses, and, you know, even students out and distribute them out evenly amongst those houses. I think in the event that you had a sibling who is already in a house, maybe, then we'd try to put you in that same house, because I think that's a nice thing to do. And as the years go by with the house system, to continue to try and to make any connections like that we can, so that you kind of feel that identity for your house, because we can assure you, once our lower school students move up, they'll have a big affinity with their house, and lots of pride attached to it. So they'll want to keep that in the family, so to speak, if any younger siblings attend DLD in the years to come. But yeah, as Gareth said, there's no real criteria except for making sure that we have an even amount in each house.
Great, thank you very much. Got one on CCAs here, Sean. So do CCAs change, or are they the same every year? So
CCAs do change. It is an ever kind of growing and developing program. You know, if you were to spend your whole journey here at DLD, you could be here for say 3 to 4 years, and in that time, you know, interests change and student voice changes. So, you know, with that, the activities can change. So we're always looking to develop it and always trying to listen to students. Some things we can't always put on, they're just not realistic to put on, but we do try to listen. As I said, you know, I'm based in an office that students are always welcome to kind of come and knock on the door, come and sit down, have a chat, and put their ideas forward. As Gareth mentioned earlier, we do have student surveys that go out kind of on a termly, half-termly basis, where students can have opinions on things like co-curricular activities. Students are also happy to lead co-curricular activities. And as I said, we have an academic society program in place within the CCA kind of offering. And students are signed up to that as well. And again, that's could always evolve and change. So yeah, it does depend year to year on what we offer, and mainly what the interest is there, because obviously if we are running something and it's not exactly what students are interested in, then we need to look at what works and what doesn't work, and build the program from there. So in answer to your question, yes, it definitely changes, but some things that are very popular seem to remain year on year.
Thanks, Sean. And just because we've had a late attendee come into the webinar, just to let you know, we are on the quick Q&A section now. We will be sending all participants a recording of the webinar tomorrow. But if you do, as a late attendee, have any questions for us tonight, please do let us know. And you can put that in the chat box below. Okay, we do have another question here for Gareth, this one. This is one that I think will definitely interest you specifically, Gareth, being a film studies teacher. Someone's asked, they want to do film studies at A-level, but they won't have any experience doing this at GCSE. Is that a problem?
Thank you for that. I'm very happy to have that question because I love my subject that I teach. No, you don't. It's not a requirement to study GCSE film in order to do an A-level. The way that the course is made up, in the first few weeks on a film A-level, you'll be covering what we call the core elements of film. So that's film language, which so you basically get almost like a crash GCSE course in the first few weeks to develop your skills in those areas. Of course, we do offer film in year 11 here. So if you have a passion for film, it's definitely worthwhile studying it, but it's not a requirement in order to do the A-level.
Great. And then we have a question from Kath's here. Another one for you, Gareth. The question is, what is the art department like? And how well do students do at art? And do you have any idea of destinations? I guess because it's GCSE, they then go on to A-level art. But yeah, what's the art department like? And what are the results for art?
So, I mean, the art department is phenomenal. That's one thing I can say. And the lovely thing about DLD College is when you come here, you walk around, all of the artwork is out on display, and it's very, very high quality. They are art teachers who are extremely passionate about their subject, but also incredibly talented. So you are very well supported during your time at DLD. The progress that our students make is amazing, in a very quick space of time. And yeah, as Ben says, in terms of progression, students that perform well at GCSE art, we would anticipate that they would then, if they had an interest in art in the future, that they would then look at diversifying a little bit in terms of their art skills. So whilst at GCSE we only have art GCSE. By the time you get onto the A level, you can do art. There's graphics. There's photography. You might even look at going into creative media. We have a creative media course. So there's lots of progression options for you once you move up from the lower school into the upper school. But I cannot speak highly enough for the art department. They're phenomenal.
Great. So just one more question on art from Kath again. Regarding arts, are there any exhibitions that we run with universities?
That's a very. We have our own exhibition every year. Are they asking if we? I'm not too sure of the question actually there, Ben.
So it's I guess, do we work with any other universities and exhibit artwork with those universities?
I'd need to come back to you on that one actually.
I think A level, I think there's a lot more involvement in terms of exhibitions.
Yeah.
Part of what they do at A level is they will go to art galleries as part of the course, but maybe for GCSE it's a little bit, because of you're studying a wide range of subjects, it will be less so at the GCSEs, but that's something you develop onto at A level. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think if we're talking about do they get the opportunity to visit art galleries, see different exhibitions? I mean, one of the beauties of us being in London, in a non-COVID world, is that we have many different art galleries on our doorstep. I think probably heard Irfan in other presentations saying London is our classroom. We're very, very fortunate in that sense. In terms of hosting our own, we do an internal. We have an internal one, but I don't know in terms of link ups with other universities whether we do at this stage.
Okay, thanks very much, Gareth. Just to mention universities, we do have a university fair on a yearly basis, which students are invited to, universities are invited to come and speak to our students. So it's a really good opportunity for students to find out a bit more about the courses that are offered at university. And obviously tonight is about GCSEs and lower school, but there is also that hope that students will progress through to A levels, BTEC or the IFP, and then go on to university after, if that's what they wish to do. We've got another question from Kath, so thank you very much for your questions this evening. If a child is not very good with a subject, how do teachers help support that child? And do you give feedback for homework?
So students will receive homework on a weekly basis, and we use a learning package called Canvas. So they submit their work on Canvas and they'll receive feedback on Canvas. We try and make the feedback very, very clear. So we identify the areas where the student has met the grading criteria, so the things that they have done well, but then we're looking at how they can improve their work for the next time they have to submit. So we highlight areas of improvement so they understand how to progress in their different subjects. They also have progression day meetings with their personal tutors so that they can talk through the feedback that they've received from their teachers, and the tutors are on hand to support the students to understand where they can go in the school to get support if they need it to work on those specific areas of development that's been identified by their teacher.
Thank you very much. And then we've had a question regarding our ratings and how to choose our school and what would we advise. So I'll answer that one. So just to let you know, we did win the Independent Schools Boarding School of the Year this year and the Judges Special Award. So we are, as a college, we are highly regarded. Our results were excellent last year across all of our year groups and across all of our different types of courses that we offer. If you want to come and visit the college, due to the impending lockdown, we may not be able to welcome you face to face, but I'm offering virtual tours and meetings as well, where I can give the opportunity to showcase the college virtually until we reopen again. So what I would say is, in a normal time, come and see us, come and see the facilities that we offer, come and speak to some of our teachers, because there's a wide range of schools out there, and we are very unique. We're in a unique location. We offer urban boarding, and it's a place that you need to see to really understand if it's the right choice for you. Okay. One more question for Sean. So, do all CCAs take place after school? And I love football. Will I be able to play for the football team?
Well, very glad to hear that you love football. I love football too. That's my main sport. So that's really good to hear. Will you be able to join the football team? That all depends on when you trial, because it is quite a competitive senior team. So yeah, I mean, if you're successful in the trials, then you would be joining that team. But yeah, as I said, it is competitive. So that we'd have to wait and see on that. But what I think is important is that you'd be given the opportunity to kind of show your skills and see whether you would be kind of suitable for that senior team. So yeah, and in terms of when does CCAs take place, as I said a little bit earlier, they predominantly take place after 5 o'clock, but there are some that take place on a lunchtime. So yeah, predominantly after school.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Well, I think that's all the questions for this evening. If there's any last questions, please do right now. However, if there's anything you think of after the webinar, we'll be in touch to share the link with you, and so you can rewatch. And also, if you've got any questions, you can ask us, of course. Okay, thank you very much so much for everyone attending this evening. And if you, like I say, if you have any questions, please do contact us again. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.